Hello, today we are going to discuss on how Iran may try to rebuild its military after the 2026 US and Israeli strikes. Iran's military industrial base depends heavily on the foreign dual use and commercial items, from raw materials to advanced manufacturing equipments. Many of those goods historically came through the re-export routes, especially through the UAE. But now, because these routes may become unreliable, Iran may shift toward Pakistan, the Caspian Sea, and more direct sourcing from China. So the main story is not about what was destroyed. It is also about what Iran will need to buy, where those goods come from, and how the United States and its allies may try to disrupt those procurement networks before they become stronger. The first major point is that strikes appear to have damaged several parts of Iran's conventional military system. Open source evidence points to significant degradation of Iran's military. Commercial satellite imagery reportedly confirmed heavy losses to Iran's conventional naval service fleet, as well as damage to major shipyards and naval bases. Some ports were also blocked by sunken vessels, which matters because the same ports are needed to import the equipment Iran would require for rebuilding. It is important to know that the weapons and the munition centers were also hit. These include the cruise and ballistic missile production sites, propellant facilities, and the transport erector launchers, or TELs. Now, the full picture is difficult to assess because much of the Iran's military and the missile infrastructure is underground. Another area is drones. Iran's drone production facility had visible surface damage, including a turbojet engine factory in Qom. Iran had launched 6,770 drones and missiles as of April 1, and the US government assessment reported by the major newspaper suggested that Iran still retained about 70% of its cruiser missile stockpile but only about 40% of its drone arsenal. So the damage was not just one type of military loss. It affected ship, port, drones, missiles, munitions, and the industrial facilities needed to produce them. If Iran wants to rebuild quickly, there are four likely near-term priorities. The first is clearing the ports. This is important because blocked ports create a bottleneck for everything else. If sunken vessels block the channels or berths, Iran cannot easily bring in bulk cargo, machinery, parts, or any other supplies needed for military reconstruction. The second priority is repairing the weapons and the munition facilities. Iran would need to rebuild the missile, drone, propellant, and munition production sites. But this is not just about repairing the buildings. It also means repairing the and replacing the damaged or destroyed manufacturing equipment, which can be harder to obtain under sanctions. The third priority is replenishing the drones fleet. Drones are central to Iran's asymmetry military strategy. They are also important to Iran's export model, especially because Iranian drones have been used or transferred in regional and international conflicts. Reports suggest that Iran has exported a large amount of drones to Russia. The fourth priority is building up the IRGC, Iran Revolutionary Coast Guard Navy asymmetric forces. Since larger conventional naval assets and shipyards were damaged, Tehran may learn more on the small, fast attack craft and unmanned maritime system. Tehran has learned that, given their geography, the small boats are much more effective. These are cheaper and faster to rebuild, and they fit Iran's strategy in the nearby waters. In simple terms, Iran's immediate problem is not only about replacing weapons. It must first reopen the routes, repair the factories, restore the drones, and shift towards cheaper asymmetric tools. To rebuild, Iran will need a wide range of imported, dual use, and commercial goods. There are four urgent procurement categories. The first is marine salvage equipment. To clear the damaged port, Iran would need items such as enclosed marine salvage airbags, high capacity submarine hydraulic pumps, and heavy duty gantry cranes. The second category is machine tools. These include basic tools like sanders and grinders, but also more advanced equipment such as precision calibration tools and CNC lathes and mills. CNC machine matter because they allow the precision manufacturing at scale, including for drones, missiles, propellant system, TELs, and other munition related production. The third category is drone components. Iran needs electronics, engines, airframes, and equipment to rebuild the domestic production capacity. Even if Iran wants the self sufficiency, it still needs imported components and production imports. The fourth category is marine engines and gearboxes. If Iran shifts towards small boats and faster attack craft, it will need a high output diesel engine, gas turbines, gearboxes, and propulsion systems. The next question is where Iran will get these goods. Historically, the UAE has played a major role, but the UAE does not produce most of what it sends to Iran. According to UAE Ministry of Economic and Tourism data, 95% of the UAE's direct non-oil exports to Iran in 2024 were the re-exports. That means the UAE often functioned as a middle point. Goods may have originated somewhere else, passed through UAE trading networks or free zones, and then moved to Iran. But these routes may become less reliable because of open hostilities and damages during the conflict. As a result, Iran may seek new procurement routes. Pakistan is important because it offers the contiguous land route through the ports and the territory. This reduces the dependence on the Gulf maritime infrastructure and may be less exposed to the US or Israeli interdiction. The Caspian route is another option. Goods could move through the countries such as Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, and Turkmenistan and then come across the Caspian Sea into the Iranian northern ports like Bandar, Anzali, and Amiradabad. This route is attractive because it bypasses the Persian Gulf checkpoints where the US and allied interdiction capacity is stronger. So policymakers will need to watch not only Iran itself but also rising exports to Pakistan and Caspian territorial states. Those patterns may reveal how Iran's procurement network is changing. China is likely to become Iran's supplier of first resort across several categories. This includes marine salvage equipment, machine tools, drone components, and marine engines. China is a global manufacturing hub for marine salvage equipment and cranes. It also says that most of the Iran's future machine tool imports will likely come from China because Chinese equipment is generally good enough for Iran's needs. But there is an important complication. Even when the machine tool is Chinese, some of the most important components inside it may still be Western origin. For example, Germany's Siemens and Japan's Fanuc dominates the market for CNC machine tool controllers. These controllers are like the brain of the CNC machine, converting the programmed instruction into precise machine movements. This creates both a problem and an opportunity. The problem is that the Western components can be embedded inside the Chinese machine, making them harder to detect. The opportunity is that regulators can focus on these choke point technologies and try to disrupt access before the equipment reaches Iran. Intermediaries also still matters. Iran will likely depend on shipments from Turkey, China, and possible the UAE for marine engines. Since 2022, around 40% of Iran's marine outboard motors and components came from the UAE, 32% from China, and 10% from Turkey. Now, what choice does policymakers have? There are three main opportunities. First, the United States and its allies can extend parts of the Russia sanctions playbook to Iran. This could include tools like no re-export to Iran clause and the anti-circumvention measures targeting the third country diversion. Second, they can engage third countries easily and early. That means working with Pakistan, Turkey, UAE, and Caspian territorial states before new transshipment network becomes fixed and difficult to dismantle. Third, they can work directly with the companies. Many US and allied firms may sell components, distribute through China or Turkey, or operate in the markets where the goods could be diverted. The goal is to help them identify the red flags, understand the sanctions obligation, and avoid the risky transactions. But Iran has more than 40 years of experience building the covert procurement networks, so the goal is not perfect interdiction. The goal is to slow Iran down, raise the cost of rebuilding, and prevent the most important procurements wherever possible.